I've been meaning to make this video for a very long time now. This was supposed to drop all the way back when Weird Streak Dad Chapter 2 first came out like a couple of weeks ago, and I got sidetracked by project after project, but okay, now we're here. I'm gonna stop delaying this project. I'm actually gonna talk about this game now. Weird Streak Dad was one of the biggest disappointments of 2023 for me. That's a fact. I've never went into a game so excited and came out of it so disappointed, man. Because I heard a lot of good things about this game at first. My first impressions of this game were actually really good. I heard it from a friend and we played Residence Massacre together when that was new and that was fresh when it first came out. And he played Weird Streak Dad and he told me that it was just a sort of continuation of that and it actually like improves on Residence Massacre. I have no clue what that guy was talking about now, because considering how good Residence Massacre was, of course it's not like a masterpiece 10 out of 10 level game, but it was actually a pretty decent horror game and I actually had a lot of fun in it. And he told me that Weird Streak Dad was basically like the successor, not in terms of canon, but in terms of its graphics and gameplay and presentation and all that. It's gonna be another good horror game that I'm able to play, and I've never been so disappointed in my life because of that. Maybe that's why I don't like this game now, because I got overhyped for it. I don't know.
Empty. It's empty. No. What did I miss?
I first heard about this game when Weird Streak Dad first popped off. I remember seeing, I think it was a Creecraft video, or I don't remember who exactly. It was like a really big YouTuber that played this. And I thought it really looked really good from the outset because I didn't really play the game yet. But when I played it, it was just disappointing. First of all, what takes points away from Weird Streak Dad already was the timing of its release, and also how Residence Massacre already did most of Weird Streak Dad correctly. And also Weird Streak Dad as like a name is so terrible. Like Residence Massacre is such a cool name for a horror game, but this name is just terrible, bro. Pretty much a lot of the points are being taken away from this game already, considering its art style, its gameplay, and a lot of its like retro Roblox classic graphics are already taken from Residence Massacre already. And I'm fine with games that are very similar to one another. I explained this more in why Roblox games look the same. I'm fine if Roblox games are similar to one another if they improve on one another. Like, what if Weird Streak Dad actually improved on Residence Massacre's mechanics and added cool new stuff into the game? Honestly, that would have been a W for me. I would have rated Weird Streak Dad very highly, but that's not the case actually. I don't know, but for me personally, it took me way more tries to beat Residence Massacre than to beat Weird Streak Dad. And I think it's just because Weird Streak Dad's mechanics are so simple, especially in Chapter 1. And oh yeah, I didn't go into this enough in the video. You literally make food at like the start of the game that's completely irrelevant to the horror game aspect of Weird Streak Dad. Literally, they're just trying to pad it out with stuff like cooking. What? So they're able to increase the amount of playing time that this game gets, which equals more money. Bro, are you serious? I'm fine if games are longer if they provide more value and more content halfway, but cooking inside of a horror game is just wow. They really got creative here. Residence Massacre, I feel, it's not complex, but at least it was super duper engaging. Weird Streak Dad Chapter 1, after I've beaten it like twice, pretty much there was no reason for me to come back to the game anymore. Even the lights out version, I just couldn't be bothered to play that one because it was just super boring. If you play these games, you basically know how these work. I'm looking at Chapter 2 later, I'm looking at Chapter 1 for now. Basically, Residence Massacre plays similar to Weird Streak Dad Chapter 1, but Weird Streak Dad Chapter 1 is like the downgraded version of it. So of course both of these games start very similar. It's just normal stuff happening at like the beginning of the day. You know, you got your camera systems, but the main difference is probably the gameplay. Residence Massacre's gameplay is actually super duper interesting. When I first played it, I kept putting on the camera thing at like outside, even though most of the time the cameras are actually kind of useless. You know, getting chased by the monster in Residence Massacre, that's basically gives me an adrenaline rush that's not good for me. But Weird Streak Dad plays more like the Intruder, where especially for the earlier chapters of the Intruder, where it's just you can just hide in a cupboard or sleep in a bed to get away from him. You don't necessarily get chased by him at all actually. In Weird Streak Dad Chapter 1, what you have to do is to eat food, get your energy right, you know, get your thirst right, stuff like that. You need to go back into the kitchen almost every single hour to get these stats up because they deteriorate over time. And even though the dad does chase you, like sometimes, I guess, it's so easy to dodge the guy that it's become super formulaic. Pretty much, if you played this game like, I don't know, like twice, and you know what you're doing and you got not terrible luck, you can practically beat this game 100%, and that's not a hallmark of any good horror game, especially for horror games. But with Weird Strict Dad, it feels like I'm just putting down a bunch of functions, especially for chapter 1. It feels like I'm putting down like a bunch of functions. I'm just cooking stuff, going to sleep, getting chased by this dude occasionally, I guess. You grab the raw noodles, you cook them, you eat. That's basically just gameplay for you, and you just get chased half the time. You use like what, 2 rooms in the entire game? That's it? In Resident Massacre, at least you had 2 entire floors in the outside to play around with and stuff like that. Oh my god, bro. This is like a formulaic horror game in its finest. I'm gonna give this like a 3 out of 10, to be honest. I don't think I will ever revisit it. A lot of the dialogue just feels slightly off. I don't know, I just don't like how the dialogue is written. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like as if the dad has half a brain and the player is slow. When you read the dialogue, it doesn't feel as if they're like 2 adults talking. It just feels like there's like 2 children talking, man. I know this is like really nitpicky, but for me subjectively, I feel like they should have went back to the drawing board for some of the dialogue that they choose for this game. Like for example, also don't forget to cook my noodle as well. He. Bro, you're 50. You're like a grown ass man saying this. No man or no person above like what, 18 does this shit. I know this is nitpicky, but I don't care, bro. When I first played it, I just I just stopped. I just stopped for like 10 seconds to process what I just read. Oh yeah, that's chapter 2 territory right now. Chapter 2 is definitely a slight step up compared to chapter 1, because chapter 1 was just comatose. It was just formulaic. You just grab stuff, you cook stuff, you drink, and then sometimes that chases you and then you just gotta leave. It's very predictable. Chapter 2, I guess, is still predictable, but at least, you know, there's stuff like alchemy going on and you gotta make potions, antidotes, all of that stuff. And I would have said that it was better if they didn't have this weird ass sound effect. And if you played any of these games, you definitely know what I'm talking about.
I've seen it, the future, I've seen it, the future, I've seen it.
The future, I've seen it, the future. Why is this in this game, bro? Why is it in this game? The only purpose of this to be in the game at all is to make it scary, and it fails at that. And when I'm trying to hear for sound effects or sound effects, you know, I'm trying to hear the actual important stuff, I'm just hearing this for no reason at all. Is it supposed to be like some 900 IQ thing where it masks the audio or something like that? Why is this in the game? Why do we have to hear this? This could have been like, I don't know, this could have been put in, I guess, in the intro cutscene where like the black mysterious dude with the black robe and the sigh, maybe you can just put that sound effect there and we just forget about it. Why is it in gameplay? Why do I have to hear this but I'm waiting for sound cues?
I've seen it, the future, I've seen it, the future, I've seen it.
One thing I'll give this game credit though is that chapter 2 is slightly more, I guess, complex compared to chapter 1, because chapter 1 pretty much you can train a monkey to play that, but for chapter 2 I guess you needed some brain. I guess you just needed some level of logic, memory. It's not that much of a cakewalk compared to chapter 1. When they did the first chase scene where like the dad first got possessed and stuff, when they did that first chase scene, I thought it's going to be like really interesting because the dad is going to roam around the house and stuff and it's going to be really cool. But no, it's just him making sound effects and stuff, and he just checks in on you in the basement like sometimes, and all you gotta do is just do alchemy and stuff like that. It went from a horror game into a puzzle game. That's literally what happened. And also, I guess the plot of the game is actually also really weird. Like the dad, after he gets possessed, and he knows that he gets possessed, he doesn't go to like an exorcist or a church or anywhere. He just continues life as normal, because in chapter 1 and chapter 2 we open up at like the dining room. Wait, bro, it's not logical, bro. I know it's trying to portray as like the macho dad that doesn't really get hurt by anything, even though, you know, he obviously gets possessed, he needs help. Any sane person would think that he needs help. I don't know, I feel like the whole scenario of them getting possessed again and then dad walking out to meet the guy with the scythe again after he got possessed, yo, it's either this dad is like not thinking whatsoever or he's just living life on autopilot, because there's no way any sane person or any like predictable realistic person will meet a guy out at a scythe at night at your doorstep. If there's some dude staring outside at my doorstep with a scythe, it's like, yo, I'm not gonna let him inside my house, dude. I'm not even gonna confront him. If I gonna confront him, I'm gonna bring a gun out, legit. So the whole scenario of how these games start in the first place is just really baffling to me. At least in Resident Massacre, for example, you're just coming home from work, and I guess it showed like the news of this murderer X-Men guy coming out and trying to kill you. That felt very believable.
If you are at home or work, remain indoors and seal all windows and doors. If you come across an anomaly, try to scare it off but do not interact with it.
But I know this is a Roblox game, but at the back of my mind, I'm just thinking like, yo, in real life, this wouldn't happen at all. Like, this doesn't even make any sense. So the main gameplay loop of Restrict That Chapter 2 is just getting ingredients found in the basement and stuff, just finding stuff around the basement, cooking up a potion, and that will save the dad from getting possessed. You get cured by it, I guess. That's basically the whole story. And after that, the mom comes in for some reason. We got some really bad dialogue. I feel like the player is like, is the player like 18 or is the player like 12 or even 9? Because I don't think even a 12-year-old will talk like this, bro. And then after that, chapter 2 closes with the mom with the black dude inside, and then the dad on the ground and stuff like that. It doesn't really make much sense, to be honest. I don't know. What am I missing? And so yeah, probably gonna give this whole game like a 3 out of 10, to be honest. This isn't that good in my opinion. I don't think I have really that high standards for games, pretty much. I don't know what I would rate Resident Massacre. I haven't really gone too deep into it and like dug in and got analysis from it. I'll probably rate like a 7 or 8 out of 10, and I don't think I'm really that critical of it. It just feels like Restrict That is an abomination. It's just a combination of so many bad things in Roblox horror right now into one specific game. Why did this game blow up? All of the horror games that are around, why did this one blow up specifically? Honestly, for me, I'll probably just play like a traditional horror game, like the Dolly, for example. I think I'll play that. I think I'd rather play that instead, because this is just, yeah, man, this is mid. Final rating for all these chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2, I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 10, man. If you haven't played any of these games yet, honestly, just save your time. Just don't even go play Restrict That, to be honest. It's not really worth your time. Alright, that's about it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here's a video that you can check out right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one, I guess. Peace.
Rex came in, I was still in the talker. Rex came in, they could fit